Okay. Well, thank you everyone for coming. We're really excited about this exhibition. And oh, one more person's coming in. And I guess we are going to go one by one by each artist. And why don't we start with you, Lauren?
Okay. Well, I did put together some images because I'm a professor, so I feel like I cannot talk about my work without also sharing images. So, um, let me share. Okay. Can everybody see? Oh, I guess I want to go to presenter's view. Sorry, technology. I blame the planets again. Oops. Okay, let me get back. All right. So I thought I would start with a piece that's actually not in the show. I wanted to talk first just about my kind of commitment to working on and with paper. I've always had a practice of working with paper since I was in grad school and kind of immediately afterwards, although it wasn't always as like a surface, like as a painting. Oftentimes it was like making paper pulp and cutting out and using these cutouts on the wall as an installation. But about 5 years ago, I really decided that I wanted to devote myself to working kind of on paper exclusively because I do again I have a tendency to really love to explore materials. So I often have to like edit myself, like what am I allowed to work with because I can go in so many different directions. Um, and so this piece was a piece that I finished in 2024 after working on it probably for about 6 months, uninterrupted. I worked on other little pieces at the same time, but this was like the one big piece that I consistently worked on. And I really think it's a precursor to a lot of the work that's in the show. So one of the things that really happened here was I decided to take the cutouts in the paper. It's hard to see in this image. You can see a little bit more in some of the detail shots, but I wanted to take the cutouts to like their fullest potential, like to this point where the paper would at least seem as if it was about to start to fall apart. Um, and so a lot of this one through line that's also comes through a lot of my work is this interest in dichotomies and things that appear to be opposites but are actually part of the same system. So one of those is, of course, creation and destruction. So a lot of my interest comes from looking at the sky and thinking about nebulas and these dying stars, and their death is so beautiful, right? For one, and the destruction, right? Their ultimate death kind of spews their matter throughout the universe and creates this potential for new life, right? Even our own life on Earth. Um, so these are some details where you can see all the cutouts. I think a lot. I kind of start out, I don't often have a plan. Sometimes there's like a vision that I'm attached to, but then as soon as I start working, a lot of it is about play and just like responding to the materials or whatever's happening in the work. So this one has little holes. And so the idea of like nebula was definitely something that kind of came after I made the work, right? So I tend to start with the materials first in a very intuitive way, and then some of the more conceptual elements come afterwards. So I lived and worked in Detroit for a number of years outside. When I finished grad school, my husband's a Detroiter, so we moved there when we were done with school. And this was another place where I just really saw firsthand this relationship between another dichotomy, or maybe even the same one, kind of creation and destruction, ebbing and flowing, expansion and contraction. And I really was really visually interested in a lot of the man-made structures that were being reclaimed by nature. And again, it was really, really beautiful, but also this symbol of economic blight. And it was really my first time living in a city that wasn't expanding. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia originally, and so Atlanta has grown a lot since I lived there. And I'd also lived in a lot of cities on the East Coast, like New York and DC. And so Detroit was the first place that I ever had lived that looked like this. But it also was this place of hope where this kind of vacant land was being reused for urban gardens. And this was like in the late 2000s, so like 2008, 2009. So I know urban gardening has probably become more, I don't know, ubiquitous since then. But at the time, it seemed really new and really exciting for me in my practice. So this is a piece that's in the show. This is the clearing. It's a piece that I finished at the end of 2024. And It's also kind of falling apart, right? I'm cutting it to pieces. There's a lot of presence through absence happening. Um, it's a little bit of a call to, or a lot of my work has some inside jokes that probably only painters would get, where I kind of reference or riff on modernist painters. So, Joan Mitchell is one of my all-time favorite abstract expressionist painters. And so she has a piece called The Clearing that has a lot of similar colors in it. And I wanted to kind of reinterpret those in this piece. But then I also, it's one of the first pieces where I really got excited about using reflective color. So I'm working on the back side of the paper too, which is something that I'll often do now, kind of working front and back, sometimes even to the point where I don't know which is the front or the back for a long time. Um, but so this one has reflective color, which is this really interesting, like visual phenomenon where color, bright colors especially, reflect or cast their light onto usually more neutral colors that are around them. And I like the ephemeral quality of it. Um, okay. I'll move fast. So this is another piece. This is Wild Thing. Um, it is so funny to look at this because I'm going to show you. I'll jump to the next image soon, but I realized afterward, and my mom is here. My mom is, hi, mom. My mom is about to turn 80 next week. And when I was young, or this week, it's this week. When I was young, she made me these pillows that were made of like washcloths and yarn. And so they look so much like these. And I didn't even think of that when I was starting them. So it's so interesting how these autobiographical elements kind of sink into our work. But this one is also a piece where I'm kind of making it through unmaking it, right? Cutting it apart, layering it with paint, with spray paint. The yarn is like often an attempt to hold it together, even though I know it can't be held together. And there it is. And a very
Oh,
interesting 12-year-old picture of me with my hair wraps. This interest has also been very long-standing, and I never thought it would come into my paintings, but here it is. Great. So this is the last piece in the show. This is called What Rough Beast. And so this is one of those pieces that was like I was working front and back and kind of, I don't know, it really almost fell apart, which in a way kind of was perfect. So I based it on William Butler Yeats' poem, kind of very well-known poem, The Second Coming, and the idea that the center is kind of falling apart. Can the outside hold? And the piece is it's very chaotic. It's kind of intentionally intense to look at. The different colors around the outer corners kind of pull apart, but then the center is this, you know, woven area where I'm trying to piece it back together and hold it all together. So those are my images. That's me. Stop my share. Hi, everybody. More people are here.
you're awesome, Lauren.
Thank you. That was my very like
It
professorial
was so great. You're like, that
little
was so
lecture.
professional. Like, you're so smart and teachery.
I can't not show the pictures, right? I'm like, we're all visual people. But just look at my face, which is fine too. But thanks for listening, you guys.
Yeah, no, it was wonderful. My mug.
Oh, look at that.
What?
Here we go.
What is
Oh,
it?
yeah.
That's a good one. It even reads the right
That's how immature I
See, it's
am.
not backwards. Oh, I'm beeping, sorry.
Who wants to go next?
I have some images or videos from the show.
Uh,
Okay. Hold on. And then I
So
can screen
impressed.
share. Give me 1 second and then I'll screen share. How do I get to do that? Okay.
Glad you girls came very prepared with images. I don't have
How
any.
how do
Look
I
at us with our mugs.
start? We got
With no
coffee. Do
images,
you want to
just
ask?
mugs.
I mean, I've got my mango juice here. Do you want to ask questions? Or I mean, that's what, or should I pull up some images from the show?
Sure.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
have any images of my pieces from the show, that would be
Yeah, no, I
awesome.
have the video and stuff. I thought we could maybe like start from there. I'm happy to riff off of Lauren. Okay, let me figure out how to screen share. What do we call it?
See at the bottom, the share, the green button with the share.
Yes, thank
But
you.
if you click into that, then you can choose which screen you want, right? If you only want to show, if you don't
Got
want to show
it.
the whole desktop, there you go. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Okay. I hope, what am I sharing? Okay, you guys can see my photos, right?
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
looking for anything scandalous on the left.
Ah, there's
No.
nothing there.
This is
Family
why I don't share
picture.
my whole
Oh,
screen.
okay.
Kind of like,
Cute.
Wait, hold on. It's just a mess. Hold on. Wait, no, go back, go back, go back. Okay, there we go. How do I get to view full screen? Right? Enter full screen.
yes.
Okay.
Awesome. It looks great.
Job.
So wait, and then I can go through images like, no? How do I move through the image though?
Can you tab through with the arrows or no?
No, it won't let me.
I wonder if you open them all in like a quick look. Are you on a Mac?
Yeah.
So if you select just all the photos you want to look at and then just right click and choose like quick view or quick look, you might be able to.
That's a rando, but that's capsules a lot of joy we have. So
We
got a
need
lot.
you, Lauren.
Yes. Got a lot of great.
We're lost
I can
without
tell
you.
that I've done a lot of zooming with teaching, so
okay.
skill
Yay.
set.
Okay, so here we have some video, kind of just very quick video going, except it's not letting me move through it. Here we go. Go riffing off of what Lauren was saying. We were talking about things kind of like decaying or becoming from inside, outside, you're not quite sure, and playing off of how we, kind of came together. We all have very different processes, but very much process-oriented work, I would say. Is that fair? Yes, I'm getting nods.
Fair.
Myself,
Mhm.
process-oriented work with my amazing, I will genuinely say friends. I will say fellow partners in this show. I'm so thankful to be included very much. Lauren, Kate, Allison, for including me. I'm a newbie in their group. And
Uh,
we have all shared and had a rigorous painting practices before becoming mothers and had I connected with Allison, I think while I was pregnant with Freda, right? I think that's
yeah.
it, yeah. And
Mhm.
so my, connection with them became as, mothers and connecting. And then I met Kate and then Lauren. And so like I said, I'm new to the group and the picture. But as I was really honored to be asked to like be part of this show and this conversation, my work itself, as very process oriented, has been taking a huge shift over the past couple of years. And in terms of having imagery fully being shown, whereas before there was much more for like the past almost 10 years, really just quite ephemeral, just quiet, more landscapes, and more abstract amalgamations, but maybe not specific shapes. So with this show, we had talked about really the title of the show is going into four different ways of working. And there is so much connection, more so than different ways of working, I feel so, in process and how we articulate the world we see around us. And it was really important for me to I like keep on and keep on the practices that I have been doing, but be honoring myself and keep moving forward with this new work, and was really excited to be able to like have the prompts to like think about what Lauren and Kate and Allison were working on as I was making the work for the show, which is very different than other group shows. And when a show is curated by other artists. And so I made this sculpture specifically. Can you see my, yeah?
Yes.
I made this sculpture, Shin, which is the Hebrew letter Shin, which is also in this painting here, and is also, I don't know if you guys know the like live long and prosper from like Star Trek. That is the basis. That letter has been a prompt and a beginning. Oh, here we have a walkthrough for my part of my sculpture and my paintings. Here's a little bit, some video we have of our show. We have really good. It's important, I feel like, to see the works in conversation with each other, and also I feel like the physicality of the work. Lauren's work, like you can see that really, moving in 3 dimension. And hold on, I want to get one more in here. No, that's the same one. I'm sorry, guys.
So we appreciate you and your images, Rachel.
I'm trying here. Hold on.
Anyway.
Okay, I want to get a little bit, here we go. I want to get some more detail shots of the sculpture and kind of riffing off of, I think, the same ideas. I think like Allison and maybe Kate's like inspired by, and I know Lauren takes objects as well. And some of the things is I take items that are already exist in real life, and also um, ephemera from things that have already happened before, as well as highlighting and um, also hiding aspects of things that exist from the armature to also, I created these, they were literally setting as I was pulling them out of the mold for Allison to wrap them up, for us to wrap them up and get them in the car. If you can see here, there's resin molds. I was doing hamsas and pomegranates along. I really wanted to have this formal element of soft and hard, but also not have gems the same way that are in my painting, but have a very condensed shining spot, if that makes sense, versus it all being like bedazzled or beaded in one area. So here is the sculpture, the other view looking forward. And you can see, I can just, like I said, those were some items that I had put into resin. These are poppies of different colors, suits through the years that do not fit me, of all different sizes that my body has been, pre-babies, during babies, after babies, breastfeeding, not breastfeeding. Um, there's also a plant up here from is originally from Lee Krasner, that was given to me by my friend, an amazing sculptor, Tamara Johnson, who's the head of sculpture, giving her a shout out at, where is she? She's in San Marco, Texas at U of T. And worked for Robert Gober, who was like really close with her. And now I share this plant and with other fellow artists who really share this kind of continuity of painting rigorous practice, which I really, I don't think Lauren has one yet. I have to send one your way.
I want one, please.
It's done.
I'll bring it.
So
I'll bring it when I come to Richmond.
Okay.
In
I'm
June.
coming too. But so there's this real and also like fake, but this representation. And um yeah, so I am really, really excited about this sculpture. Was made specifically to go for this show, but there were really some really happy conversations going on. Allison, and as we were all putting this up, I remember Allison was really concerned about the triangles, right?
I remember that. Yeah.
Do you remember your Allison was worried about the triangles? And I remember just we saw these together and we were just very excited about that. And here's some more kind of images walking through the show, but I'm gonna kind of just leave that. How do I unshare? Am I unsharing now or no?
Actually, Rachel, if you have any images with my paintings in it,
Yes,
you can leave it up and we can make the painter's painter go last, which is Kate.
Yeah, I can go last. I'm fine with that. Oh, no, whatever.
And I was just going to add to, like, it's so cool with Rachel's work, and I know with mine and with Allison's, it's kind of the most that we all like kind of use the painting as a site of display.
Yeah,
So it's like
right.
both a piece and then things are hidden or worked, like physical objects are worked within it too, which
That,
is
that particular image that you showed Rachel just now, it's powerful to me. It's so interesting because they all are so different, all four paintings, yet there's this like sense of groundedness that is like so strong on that wall. And I know it has a lot to do with Lauren's like the way it falls and sits, like you really feel it. But it's like something about that is in every part where you have this grounded powerfulness while it still has this like playful moment that like is really really interesting on that wall. And really, I think what's so great about this whole show is that dichotomy of ideas kind of somehow coming together for all four of us. So that
Yeah,
is
you're
great.
describing us.
Uh-oh, I don't hear you, Rachel.
oh,
Unmute,
yeah,
Rachel.
I think.
There you
I wish I could do it.
Can
Oh,
you hear me? Okay, hi.
go.
Guys,
I wish I could do it for everybody.
can you see me?
Yeah,
Yeah?
I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna put on the video of some video that I took of our show. And then Kate, Allison, do you wanna, chime in a little bit about your
Yeah, I can talk about my pieces next. I'll just talk about just the three. There's already a lot of connections that have already been talked about, but
Uh-oh. Imagine being all in one space in real life and we'd still be doing this awkward like
wouldn't that
technology.
good?
be fun?
This is great. This is great.
There you go.
All right.
Good.
Wait, I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see. Are you still on screen share?
You don't see it?
No, we're not seeing it for some reason.
Hold on. I can do
Hmm.
it. I can do it. I can do it.
You can. I
I
believe
can do
you.
it.
There it is.
Oh,
Okay,
there we go.
lovely.
Excellent.
Oh, I love this photograph.
Okay. There. And so I'll start with this. Is that good,
Yeah,
Allison?
that's good. Yep. Okay. So that's my piece. Second from left. It's called Melancholy and the Infinite Salads, which is a riff off of a Smashing Pumpkins album, which I just feel like is perfect because it's showing in Chicago also. So this is a newer piece. I made it at an artist residency I did in the fall in Hudson. And I had no idea what I was going to do while I was there. I just gave myself permission to try like whatever. And I went up there with just like a lot of different scraps. That's usually how I start. I'll just cut up a bunch of linen, canvas, found, tablecloths, old towels, embroideries, like anything that has a history or that speaks to like contemporary theming. And I'll manipulate it in some way. So the orange, the burnt orange, the green, and the blue squares. The orange and the green are dyed. The blue is painted, and then I know it's really hard to see, but
I'm gonna
there's like
try to get some other images up while you continue to talk about it.
okay. There's like a motif of a paintbrush. And so while I was up there, it was just absolutely beautiful and the sun was shining and it was so nice to be in the country. So I did a lot of work outside and I used this solar reactive dye and I love to try to be funny. I don't know if I always am, but I like to try to be funny. And so it's just the shape of the paintbrush reacting with the sun. So that was something new that I had never done before. Anyway, then all of the scraps of fabric are sewn together. And in the middle there, I like to use what I have around. So I collect all different sorts of things. Just, I look around the studio and grab something quickly that I think could work. But in the middle, those are the scraps from all the different fabrics that I had on the studio floor in that studio. So I just swept them up and I put a piece of plastic on top, and it's attached. I
I
guess
love
it's not
that.
really attached, it's just being held on with the piece of plastic. Yeah. And I guess it's the infinite salads thing is just kind of another little me trying to make light of being in like perimenopause and thinking about how I'm supposed to like be healthy for the rest of my life. I just think about infinite salads, and the shape is sort of like dinner plate shaped. And it's also this kind of like uh, quadrant, which is interesting considering the show. Let's see, do you have a picture of the one with the triangles in it?
Yes.
I love that. I just want to say while we're waiting, it's so cool, like the scrap thing, right? Like I love scraps too. There's this kind of like disrupting that hierarchy, right? Scraps are the thing on the floor, they're the leftovers.
Oh, sure. Yes. Thank you for pointing that out. I think a lot about craft and hierarchy, high art versus low art. And again, I'm from Michigan. We kind of held on to everything in case we would need it later. And I do that in the studio. I don't do that in my house or my real life. Like I love throwing things away, but in the studio, I'm like I'm like 10 years old again, holding on to everything just in case I need it. So nothing goes to waste.
Same here.
Yeah. So again, we have the quadrants here. I kind of have two or three different things going on in my work right now. Again, one is this sort of like flower shape, very loosely based on a quilting pattern also. And so the bottom left, where all those little, I call them flowers are, those are all just scraps of work that didn't work out. I like to give things another chance. And yeah, so that's all sewn together. There's burlap, old painting rags. I'm looking. I paint with bleach often. There's some used hot pads, some embroidery. Yeah. And then the four, I guess, petals of the flower. That's another thing I've been doing. So that's all linen that has been bleached, dyed, and drawn on with ink. Yeah, so I'll have like 50 of them around, and I'll just start arranging them until I come up with something I like. And then the gloves are weird. I had made a couple of paintings like 10 or 12 years ago with gloves in it. I don't know why. I'm not going to try to figure it out right now, but I like them. I dyed them so that they worked with the composition, and I like it kind of creates this movement, like the glove is pointing down, and then you wrap around for like a circular eye movement. Do I make sense?
So much sense.
Very much sense. I'm looking
Okay, good.
for
Because I always make sense in
video.
my head.
So much sense. Yeah.
Yeah, the little bump out is something I've been doing recently. I believe this is the first painting where I did the bump out on the right. Still exploring that with varying degrees of success. Yeah, and then there we go, the piece with the triangles next to Lauren's, in between Lauren's and Rachel's. That's the oldest painting in the show. On the left-hand side is I believe it's either oh no, it's a bed sheet. I was thinking of like there's a couple in one paintings, and I've always been attracted to work where there's just like something right down the middle. So I wanted it to be two completely different things with a line right down the middle. Anyway, it also has text in it, which is another thing I've been doing lately. And it's not legible really, and it's not supposed to be, but it happens to say at piece, side piece. So yeah.
This larger one, Allison, right?
No, that's called It's How You Say It. From It's Not What You Say, It's How You Say It.
How did you, I have a question for you, if I'm allowed to
What?
answer the question. What?
Please.
How can you talk about how you came to make that mark making on the panels? You made those at the residency, you had said? Like where
I
the
didn't
image
I
come
didn't
from
make
those
this
folks?
piece at the residency. That particular motif is like a quatrefoil. I remember using that in grad school, actually. My work was totally different, but I had a piece where I was like painting a lot of wallpapers and patterns, and there was this quatrefoil motif. I just became obsessed with it, and then I started seeing it everywhere, and it really is everywhere if you pay attention. And it just kind of stuck with me. But I'll try all different sorts of shapes, and you know, there's some things that work, and then there's a lot of things that look like crap and end up being cut up for use, like in the bottom left.
I love that. I think like collage finds, I mean, there's like, did we choose collage or like, I don't know, because I feel like there's that amazing part of the process where, yeah, the discards and the failed pieces, like they find a new life, like when you can recycle and reuse them, that I find that so rewarding.
Yeah,
But I love
and
the whole, yeah.
it's also a feeling like I've always felt like I have something to prove. So the whole notion of sewing came when my two older kids were little, and I needed something to do to get my studio practice going. And so I bought a sewing machine, and I used it in the kitchen, and they could play or do whatever they were doing, and I could keep an eye on them while also making progress. So I thought I'll just make a bunch of little things, and then when I have a real studio time, then I'll assemble them and make something out of it. And I
So,
guess it worked because I'm still doing it.
so cool.
I love that. And I think that's something we all connect with. Like the four of
Yeah,
us. That's
yeah,
something.
like little bits to a whole. It's like the repetition of everyday life, or like if you have a big goal in mind, you have to do little steps to get there.
How do you eat an elephant,
Um,
right?
yeah, yeah, that's it. So those are the three. I like that I got, a new one, an older one, and an in between one. That was kind of cool. It worked out that way.
The time frame of the extent of your work, right? Like over a very long period of time, you're saying.
Yeah, it is. And time I think about a lot also, because a lot of the materials I'm using were made by women I don't know, and I find this stuff at thrift stores and estate sales. And so, some of these things were probably embroidered by an old lady back in 1955. And here I am reusing it for something contemporary. And it sort of, I don't know, makes me feel present to think about.
Oh no.
We lost you.
Just to know that I made it live on, but it gives me purpose right now.
Right.
Rachel, could we go back to, or could we go to the one that she's talking about, with the text in it? If you go to an image,
There it is.
there, yeah, that one.
Good work, Rachel.
If we could go, can you go to an image of it? Yeah, maybe we could see it a little better.
Do it like this. That's the best I can do.
Yeah, that's great.
Look at those two together. That's just,
Look,
I'm
it's
sorry.
And
That's
it's totally
wild. You
unplanned,
didn't even
right?
plan that. That's insanity.
It is insane.
So
I also
Totally
use yellow a
insane.
lot. Like I don't do a lot of yellow. It's funny, but I feel like the yellow really connected all four of us, and this, like
Yeah.
especially on that back wall, was really interesting.
Really.
Yeah.
yellow was a big part for all of us, and I've always been told yellow's
Yeah. Same.
a no-no. So it was something I was gravitating towards because there were so many things about this show that were like,
Fuck them.
Yeah. Love it.
wait, before we switch to Kate, Allison, can you point out the language to the viewers?
Yeah, it says at peace, side piece. So I was thinking about like relationships, and also if I'm working on something that has text in it, whatever it says also informs the composition. Like I'm just not into things that are arbitrary, so it all has to make sense together. So I'm thinking about like a couple or like a person with a side piece who is at peace. Not me. Let's not read into it. I was just thinking hypothetically, using it with a bed sheet. I don't know. It seemed funny, a little sexy. It
You like a lot of
made the
dirty
bed sheet
language.
make sense.
You have a lot of dirty language with your
What's
titles.
that?
You have a lot of dirty language with your titles in general.
Yeah,
They're very
I do. I really fan.
Little libidinous. Um,
let me pull out to
Well,
Kate.
it's hard enough being an artist. We might as well have a little fun with
Yeah.
it.
I have a quick comment on this piece, Allison.
Yeah.
So I love this piece.
Thank
It's amazing. And for me, when I look at it, it's almost as if my eyes are battling because one of them is struggling to focus while the other one is not.
Yeah.
And it also really reminds me of an eye exam.
Oh, sure.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So, that optical illusion that it does, I find that to be like really fun. And
Thank you.
yeah, I absolutely love it. And so now I'm so glad that I know what it says because I think I didn't know what it said.
If I have a painting with text in it, it's always the title of the painting. Like I'm not trying to be sneaky about everything. So, but thank you for pointing that out. I was trying to get it to like vibrate, sort of like a relationship.
I love that you brought that up because I've been a big fan of Sonia Delaney.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's the opposite colors that create
Mhm.
the vibration in the eye. So
Sure.
it feeds into this whole optical illusion that you're referring to. So cool to know that because we love Sonia.
We do. We love her. Well, I have nothing else to say.
Right. Well, why don't I
We're gonna
stay pretty informal, but there's some of my, there we go. Cool. Thank you, Rachel, for doing this. I'm sorry for not having images. I'm the process-led abstract painter. I think we all have a little bit of that, but I have a really intuitive approach to image making. So my practice is based in exploration, and it's very much based in searching, in the goal of finding meaning in that act, right? So the paintings connect to obviously broader situational and emotional landscapes, but it's really that openness, I think, that I require of myself in the studio that allows anything to kind of really be in the work. And I think what's really exciting about this particular show for me, this was an interesting connection of my three paintings that I think all three of the particular works are a very wide range that are in this show, and they don't necessarily, I believe, talk to each other very well, my work, but it was really this very amazing experience of like unlocking these new conversations with like just the example here of like this particular painting, Let's Lay in the Dead Grass, next to Allison's work. It kind of woke it back up a bit, and I've been really excited about that aspect of being in this show, was just like taking three very, very different paintings of mine and, having them be together in a show, but really relating to the other artists more so than myself. And yeah, it's really important for my work to be, I would say, like engaging both, psychologically, sensually, and how all of those choices in the work really depend more on the content for their meaning instead of working out of a sort of modernist non-image formalism. So it's that same sort of conversation we were talking earlier about, it just seeing this like playfulness that's still extremely grounded, and that being a really important thing for me to and find intuitively. So, but all three of the paintings, despite like the fact that they're very different, like in terms of scale, in terms of color, they very much relate to each other content wise. They're all three paintings very much in a very different space of grief. And so I think that's very interesting about the work. This little guy here is a work that reminds me of work that I've been doing since graduate school, where it's very much an all over pattern, and it's called Pale Moon Rising. And so it has a lot of hope into the painting. It's the first, it's a good little painting that I love very much. And the larger painting is called Your Father's Map. So that guy, the big one next to that beautiful wall. Where is it? There we go. There's a picture of that particular painting. And I work pretty much 54 by 66 usually. That's my larger scale work, but I also have these sort of like auxiliary tangents that I go off in for the smaller scale painting. So it was really cool to see all those together. But yeah, so
I have something you said reminded me of, I was sort of like surprised, because we all brought more work than we needed, with the intention that we would work out and find connections when we got there.
yes.
And I was a little surprised I knew I wanted my big one in, but I wasn't so sure about what. I didn't think the other two would make the cut, but like, isn't it just sort of like worked out like magically? Do you feel that way?
It was really strange for me. And I know that we've all talked about this process of like, we've been, for those of you who don't know, like we've been talking about this show for almost 2 years. Think about it, right?
Yeah,
But this
I've
is
been thinking about it for longer.
and yeah, absolutely. And so this conversation, it's like the beauty of something like this, of coming together in conversation, really is about the moment, right? Like the moment where we weren't taking paintings that we presented and set up and it seems like it's going to come together. It's like we really did let that part happen, which I think that was a big beautiful thing, to like take a bunch of paintings and go to this place and like see what would happen when they're all in the same space. And for me, it was tricky because I had, not for the show, but I had just happened to complete a painting that I think I had been working on for 3 years, the very large scale, bigger painting, that it's called Super Secret Disc Track. And I brought it with me. In the U-Haul from Virginia all the way to Chicago. And it was just like a weird thing to decide, right? Like that one doesn't make sense. It's brand new. And as artists, we always think, oh, it's an opportunity. We need to show, the newest thing that's on my mind. And in a way, it's like, I think coming back home, it was like, oh, I was glad that I'm going to have this painting at home with me. And it was, to start this new body of work or whatever. But it is that interesting conversation where you're like, oh, I thought that I was going to really want this other painting in the piece. But the minute I saw the other one, Your Father's Map, next to, I don't know which, I think it was next to Lauren's. And I don't even think that's originally where we had it. Like it was a different conversation. Or no, Lauren, you and I were saying that the Super Secret Disc Track really connected. And then all of a sudden we were all like moving them apart from each other, like, oh, they can't be next to each other, even though you and I were like, ooh, look at what's happening here. And then, so it's just the beauty of like really allowing that openness, which obviously, as the person who just said, that's like a huge part of my practice, like approaching curating this show was such a like in the moment, like it would have been a different show a week from that. You know what I mean? Like that's such a
Mhm.
beautiful thing to me. And I think it speaks to a lot of the stuff that we,
Or with a
as
different
mothers.
group of people, like,
Yeah.
right, like we're four people who love each other. So if I had an opinion, like you all know that it doesn't mean I hate
Oh
you.
yeah, no, we were great. But I feel like
Right.
that was the easiest part of this. There was no weird energy about putting it
There's
together.
no weird ego or having to tiptoe around somebody you don't know or have never shown with
No,
before.
it was a group math class
Yeah.
problem, putting it together in a good way. Like we,
That's the way.
Girl math?
right?
It was so
I
much of
said
it too
girl
was
math.
like what we expected from images, right? Because we'd shared
Exactly.
images with each other and we
Except
kind of
for
were
me.
thinking,
I was
Yeah.
we
difficult.
knew, we trusted the
Yeah, well,
process,
for me, it
Rachel. We
worked
trusted
out.
the
Process.
But
Right.
like,
Your work looked killer
yeah.
because
No, I understand what you mean, Lauren.
Something with like when you see the work in person, and I think this show, I would just encourage everybody who's like in Chicago or like can get there. Right? It's so much. I think it has a lot to give in person. The install shots are awesome,
Right.
but like, yeah, it is just really interesting to look at four different artists,
I think that that's like when you're coming back from something like this, like we've all had solo presentations of our work, and it's a very different, myopic approach to thinking about your paintings. And I think me as an example in this, like I thought like I made interesting choices in the first place of what I put in the back of my U-Haul to decide to bring in the first place. But this idea of like, we had the opportunity, I think that's what's so cool, of the opportunity to think about our own work differently because of you all. Like I feel very differently about those paintings having them in this context. And I think oftentimes if we get so caught up like you do in a solo presentation of your work where you've got this one idea that you think needs to come through, and then like the finding of meaning in the combinations of these paintings is like so beyond to me. Like I haven't been able to stop thinking about these walls. Like I just think it's so great to, and I'm like, didn't even know, I hadn't thought about the little pale moon rising. Like that's an older painting of mine, 2023, not old, but that's 2 years ago. And I haven't thought about it. I haven't spent a lot of time looking at it. It's like, but it's like
yeah.
it comes back. Like you refresh yourself on these things because they're all important. Like we're dedicated to our studio practice, and then you get these like opportunities to revisit
Mhm.
ideas. And that's what these shows are all about,
It's important to see your work in different contexts. Like context is everything. And I feel like it opened up a lot of possibilities.
for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
And I love what you were saying, Kate and Allison, about our work in different contexts and also feeling comfortable. You said that this was a very different type of show in terms of a group show. I felt very like, as the was the language, held and loved by you guys and supported as I was making my work
Yeah.
and going into like religious imagery. And you guys are like, this is great. And seeing that in a larger context outside of my work was everything, and being in conversation, our work in a larger context. I mean, that's isn't that the goal? It's a dream. It's
All
amazing.
about
I
it.
love
Yeah.
this.
We
And
appreciate the chance to be able to do it. It was an adventure.
thank you, Alma, and to the whole Heaven Gallery team. We
Absolutely.
Yeah.
did
Thank
such
you,
a
Alma, for
great.
letting us
Of
be
course.
able to do it.
Guess who's here?
Who?
Look who's here.
It's me.
Can you see him?
Is it Derek?
Yeah,
Derek.
it's me. Oh,
Hi, Derek.
how you
Yeah,
doing?
Derek's here. He's knocking at the door.
Aw.
Oh, that's great.
Good to have you.
So before we close, Rachel, I don't think you got a chance to talk a little bit about your blue paintings. Now, the larger one, I see that there's like a little bit of an eye in it of some sort. Like I almost see like a fish eye.
Yes, are you talking about the larger blue one?
Larger blue one.
The larger blue one, let me see, pull some images up here. This was on
There it is.
oh, I'm gonna pull this up. Okay.
There you go.
Perfect.
And then the smaller one also has like little tiles
Th
almost.
this one or the smaller one?
Both of them. I was just interested in what those decisions were like what is, yeah, like what's in there?
So what's in here? This
Yeah.
maybe goes that. So the images we were talking before about like the live long and prosper is a representation of the Shin, and something that we all have used is this moon imagery. I think we've all used it in different ways. And also I have the Shins here. Uh I've got him doing Live Long and Prosper over here, a high necklace over here. They almost look like they're illuminated from behind. A golem, which is a figure, this like figure from Czech literature, from the Pale settlement that was created from mud to protect the community during pogroms. And there's poppies inside of there. I can get another image up inside of the golem that are those little gems in there. And then you were asking about the eyes. Those are the um, evil eye, the protective eye on the nails, which is more of like a decorative kind of like, I love that it's like a continued way of bringing different traditions into kind of contemporary culture. And it just, the same way that um, I feel about how, continuing my practice as a Jew, very much similarly how I feel about continuing my practice as a painter and a sculptor. These are very much sacred practices of being able to be image makers and object makers and share them and have the opportunity to share them. But like I really look at my paintings and my sculptures personally as right now as I feel that they're like personal prayers and just kind of like wanting to evoke these protections for us all. And it's maybe, yeah, more of like they're a dreamscape, but it's also like for me a prayer space and where my, hoping that these things are coming more to light and bringing that out in the world. So those are like my paintings being my manifestations. So I think that's a lot about where the imagery is coming from, pulling the connection from my Ashkenazi Jewish background and with my connection with like painting as a practice. These are both practices and this show and this opportunity has really allowed me to pull that all together in a much more I guess public setting and in a different context we were talking about was really special and I'm so thankful for that. And I'm so excited about the work and to continue to make it and hopefully make more work with these ladies and, more conversations and with you guys. And this has just been so special.
Thank you.
Isn't it kind of badass how we're talking about nebulas and outer space and moon, and then we're getting our hands on like earthly objects?
Yeah.
The moon. We talked about the moon a
Yeah.
lot when we went out for dinner.
So
We
much
we
about
talked
that.
about the moon and astrology and ways to expand our mind, right? And I think we've all talked a lot about the moons, and that's been a very kind of that's a very spiritual thing for me. How it has to be, however you cut it. If you're not a religious person, it's just like it's a big,
Yeah, it's awe-inspiring.
it's awe-inspiring. I think that's something we all very
Yeah,
much connect to.
absolutely.
Am I just right now realizing that we all paint moons? Like
Are you
right
just
now?
realizing that now?
Love
Y'all,
Wow.
moons.
That's beautiful.
Right. Love it.
That's wonderful.
I
I
love it.
love that. You constantly know.
Second.
I will add this. I was listening to an astrologer speak about the moon, and he called it a ledger of blows, right? So the moon is this kind of luminous thing, but realizing like she's been beat up, right? The moon has been hit, right? It has scars. And so there's something so interesting about that too, right? Is this beautiful kind of jewel in the sky, but then this physical object that has like been through it.
Yeah.
That's yes,
Cool.
yes, and yes.
Like
Feel
that.
that. Feel
Controls
that.
our periods. So weird.
That too. All of that.
That too. Oh.
Does anyone else have any questions as we close the conversation? Anyone else?
There's one. Can I take the
Derek's got a question. You know Derek's got a question. Go ahead, Derek.
My question, the question in regards to the colors and the nature and the stories behind each of the words. A question, what inspired you to do a particular piece? And what's the one, and what's the takeaway for this exhibit? Because to me, when I look at the exhibit, it's just thought the exhibit the paintings are encouraging and inspiring to look at, the notion that goes with it.
What is the message?
Yeah, what's the message?
Takeaway. What's the takeaway?
Yeah, what's the takeaway of it?
We probably each have our own very personal relationship with our color palettes, right?
Right.
Very much so.
Yeah, I know. It's funny where the colors come from. It's always hard to figure that part out because sometimes it is like what's around. I think we're all kind of very physical, right? And kind of sensory, right? So there's this material interest. So sometimes it's very much like, oh, I have this color string and I'm going to start using it. And then I have to start to respond to my original decision. Decide whether it was bad or
This
good.
color to draw, like make connections. Like I really like a jarring color combo. And a lot of times before I even know what my content might be, it's just color that gets me up in the morning. That's what gets me excited, is to try to tell a story with your color combination or create a mood.
Yeah.
And I
For
think
me-
it's our job as artists, like we have to like pull people in. Like that's the first thing as an artist. You have to like come hither with the art,
Yeah.
with the color. But for me, it's this body of work has been extremely specific, and the color came before the material. The material had to work into the color, which is opposite of how I've been working before, where for me, it really had to be out of a dark space to make something very light and joyful. And to me, whether I was looking for that or not, I got that not only out of making this work, but seeing our work together felt extremely joyful. And that just felt that was a really icing on the cake. But I know that's where we wanted to, come to as well. This has been and will continue to be, it's that light, it's that fire. It keeps us, keep moving this painting, this practice for sure.
Yes. And then we'll just walk around here a little bit. Because we're open now for gallery hours. If anyone's in Chicago, come see us. Come see me, Derek.
Ladies, you have to respond to that, Kate.
Yeah, or Lauren, go
Name
for
for the
it.
show.
Want to talk
Well,
about it, or yeah, I guess.
the whole process was so cool, right? So with kind of writing a proposal for this show, Allison presented us with the idea, I think, and then we all shared like our bio, or what did we share? Our artist statements and little things that we were thinking about, right? That we thought were relevant or were ways that our work kind of tied together.
Think about it. We did a Zoom just like this, like our
Yes.
first
Yeah.
conversation. It was, and it was just a lot of back and forth, and
Yeah.
yeah,
And
great.
so I wrote about the quadrivium. I think again, four of us, right, thinking four subjects, we're the subjects. But also like where are the overlaps, right? That we are all looking at these material things and kind of trying to find order or harmony with them. And I don't know. So quadrivium, out of quadrivium came squadrivium. So it was another like funny play on words. I don't even remember who said it. It was like through a chat. I don't know if it was Allison or can't remember.
We were throwing around. I was
Odd,
really
I-
getting TikToks and GIFs. And like I think it was like
favorite language.
that, yeah. So I think it was from that language. I mean, we were just like an automatic squad. I mean, I inserted myself in your grad school.
No, you
Are
No,
no, it's a perfect match.
It's a great match.
you're in the squad.
yeah.
It added some humor to
I think we all look for
Well
that playfulness to try to find a way to, you can't take yourself too seriously all the time. You really have to be able, that's where all the exciting things happen. And I think that we wanted to make sure this show had that piece to it, like from the start, like that energy squad, it's cute.
Very much. Thank you so much, Heaven Gallery.
Thank
Besides,
you, Alma. We really appreciate you.
really
Really
appreciate you
do.
and your support and your crew.
You.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And we will see you again, and we'll continue to keep showing everyone the exhibition. And now that we have the knowledge to talk even further and deeper about every piece, I feel like that's going to make everything more richer moving forward into this extended exhibition until June 8th, everyone.
Woo! It's gonna be
Wow.
great. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
thank you
Thank
all for
you.
coming.
Bye.
Great to have you all here.
Bye.
Bye, Derek.
Bye.